Hi, it's Dennis here. Welcome to my shop. This is not a ham radio video. This one is about my other hobby, which is wood carving or whittling, if you will. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was knives and um, cutting knives. You ask 10 people what their favorite knife is, and you're going to get 10 different answers. I guarantee it. Anyway, you can see here I've got a little bit of a selection behind me, different gouges, knives, some more gouges, and a few miscellaneous stuff here. But really, you don't need this much. You need, well, one knife. You need really, I would recommend to get started, you need three things. So let's take a look at a bunch of knives, and I'll tell you a little bit about my likes and my dislikes, and we'll get going that way.
All right, so the thing about carving is that you can, well, it's like any other hobby. You can buy yourself a million different tools to do different things, but you end up really only using a few of them. So let's take a look at what I'm using. First of all, I mean, I've got different gouges here, and don't get fooled by that. You only need one knife, but it's nice to have a few different ones. Now, they're relatively inexpensive, roughly about $30 to $40 for a knife in Canada. There are a few specialty knives from advanced companies like Helvey, a little bit more expensive, more like $60 Canadian. But you know, over in the big scheme of things, that's what, $60? That's 20 cups of coffee in a month, so it's not a whole lot. What I've got here is an assortment of knives. And I've got the flex cut here. This was the first whittling knife that I bought. It's two blades. You've got a rough out and a detail, two different sizes. So this blade is the exact same blade as this guy here. It's the larger blade. And it carves really, really nice. These are not locking blades, but it doesn't really matter because you're pushing material away. Okay, you're rarely ever working it this way where the knife could come back on you. So it's not really a big deal that it's not locking. I like to throw this in my pocket. I take a little strop with me. We'll talk about strops shortly. You know, I can carve a branch sitting on the dock at the cottage, and it's kind of fun to do. My only complaint against this knife is the handle. It's really not comfortable in my hand, so I don't use it for extended periods of time. It's just a knife that I like to, like I say, throw it in my pocket when I'm going out in the woods and I just want to sit down and, you know, just kind of whittle some time away. Pardon the pun there. Put that away. You know, some guys, they use just a regular pocket knife. This is a buck. I've had this one for, gosh, 30 plus years, and carry it with me through the bush all the time. It's darn handy. It's razor sharp as well. You know, it's very, very sharp, and it will whittle away wood. But you can see that it's pushing wood, and the reason it's doing that is because of the bevel, the angle on this blade. So we've got a point, and then the blade comes out this way. So the point's there, and then the blade's wider. So you got to push an awful lot of material out to get it out of the way. A lot of people do some really good work with this type of knife. You could reshape it, but then it would lose its robustness for in the woods. So I don't really use that. Now that said, you know, I see people use these guys, and they do phenomenal work with them. And hey, it's whatever works for you. Not a traditional carving knife, but you know, it will take out wood, and I just have hard time with this blade getting into doing some detail. Some folks will use different sizes of these, I'm going to call them X-Acto knife or razor knives, and you know, you can push material. This particular blade here is shot, but you can get in there and do little chip cuts, okay, and get stuff out. Oops, I'm not very good at chip cuts with a razor blade. But anyway, some people use them, and they're very, very good with them, and it's whatever does it for you. To get started, you know, you only need one knife, but a rough out knife is nice to have. A detail knife is nice to have. And then a little gouge, a little V gouge. I'd say that if you had a detail knife, a rough out knife, and a V gouge, you're going to be set for an awful long time. Now, most guys, people, they get, well, you get addicted and you want to try different things. So I'm going to show you some different knives here. This guy here, I bought it, I watched, there's there's some carvers that I've seen here on YouTube, and they were doing wonderful stuff with it. I find it's a nice rough out knife, but the curved blade for me just doesn't do it. So I don't use it a whole lot. I'll just pop a little blade protector on there. I'm going to talk about those in a few minutes and tell you about that. Here's another flex cut, really tiny little guy, small blade, and that's nice for getting in there and getting in all the little corners and stuff on your carving. You got to be careful with these guys because the blade is so small it'll take off on you, so you have to have a little bit of control on your pushes and pulls with this guy, because it'll just dig right into the wood and take off on you. All right, I'm going a little bit all over the place here. Let's talk about flex cut. The flex cut knife, highly recommended by me for your first knife. And the reason I say that is it's relatively inexpensive. You can pick them up for about $35 Canadian, be about $27 American, I guess. They're easily available. We have a shop here across Canada called Lee Valley Tools. They have storefronts and they have catalog shopping, and they're always in stock over there, and you can get them really, really quick. There's a 3-pack available. I think I saw it on Amazon today for about $70. You get a rough out knife, you get a detail knife, and you get this shorter knife here, which is kind of in between a detail and a rough cut. Handy to have. The 3 knives, and you get a chunk of compound for stropping for $70 Canadian, probably about $60 or so American. A really good start. Now, a lot of people will say that the flex cut is not a good knife. I beg to differ. I think it's a great knife. A lot of people don't like the handle. They don't find it comfortable. For me, it's not an issue. I find the handle quite comfortable. If I had to say one thing about the flex cut is here's a brand new one. I've used it a few times, but I'm going to show you some detailed photos here of the blade. This one here, I honed it. I changed the profile of the blade so that it would take away material a little bit quicker and a little bit easier to push through. When the blade is thicker, you got to push a lot of material. You got to push a lot of blade through your material. All right, so there's the original. Go ahead and use this. It comes razor sharp. It's just this bevel is not as friendly as this one. As a beginner, this is going to be more robust. This one here is a little bit more fragile now that I've changed it, but you can experiment with that, and I'll do a video on this a little bit further on. But getting right out of the box, these are a good knife. You just have to push a little bit harder, but they take out a lot of wood. Okay. Another knife which is easy to come by, very robust, is OCC Tools. This is a great little knife. It's razor sharp, and it comes out of the box razor sharp, or the packaging, and it's got a really nice heavy duty tip on it. Okay, so when you're doing some push or some chip cutting, I'll put this down here because I'm not wearing a glove. Your chips are coming out really, really nice with this one, so I got no problems pushing that in. Wear a glove. These are Kevlar lined gloves. I always wear one when I'm carving, and if your knife slips and hits your hand, I'll tell you, the Kevlar threads will not let the knife poke. You can still poke yourself this way, it won't stop it, but you won't slice into your hand. Okay, so get yourself a carving glove. Again, you can buy these. I bought mine at Lee Valley Tools, but you can get those on Amazon just as easily, and they're not expensive. I think this one here was a little bit higher grade. I think I paid $16 Canadian for a pair of them. The nice thing about the glove is that you can wear this glove on any hand. You can, if you're left-handed or right-handed, so the pair will actually, last you an awful long time because you can just use one of them. All right, I'm getting a little bit mixed up here. OCC Tools, recommended. The oak handle is nice. The knife is well built. For me, it's not as comfortable in my hand as I would like. robust. I use it, but I find that I will use it for a certain purpose and then I won't keep carving with it because I just don't find it comfortable in my hand. They do make another blade profile, handle profile called the Big Hands, and that might be better for me. I have actually ordered one from a company called Chipping Away here in Canada. But they told me it was 10 days before they could ship it. So I guess they have to order it from the manufacturer. OCC tools, easy to find on the web. You'll find a dealer close to you. You can do a Google search on it. This is a Swiss-made knife. I don't know how to pronounce this. Pfel or Pfel or Fel, or I'm not sure. But anyway, they're a nice knife. They've very, very solidly made, razor sharp out of the box. You can see that the blade goes right down inside of the handle here, so it's very, very solid. I like it for doing detail work, and I find the handle very, very comfortable for me. I recommend that knife. Fairly easy to come by. Although with COVID right now, things are a little odd. One knife that I didn't put out here is Drake. Drake is a beautiful knife. I'm going to put my glove on here. Drake is a beautiful knife. You know, you're going into the end grain here on a piece of basswood, and this thing just pushes through like butter, and really super smooth as you're coming through. The blade is very, very thin, okay? I recommend this knife. Well, first of all, it's the most comfortable handle that I've got. It's super comfortable in my hand. Highly recommended. What I will say about the Drake is that the blade is very, very thin, but it's also fragile, okay? The tip, incredibly pointy tip, so you can dig that right through, but if you bend it while you're pushing, it's going to break. Okay, so you got to be very, very careful with these. I would recommend that you order one of these. I'll put a link to the website down below there in Washington State. It's a small shop, mom and pop shop, and you can order one. If he has them in stock, they'll ship fairly quickly. When I ordered my set that I have up here, it took 6 weeks to get them because he had to make them, and then there was COVID, and it just took forever to get them. Okay, pop a knife protector on, or a blade protector on there, a little sheath, and put it away. So that's it. The only other thing that I didn't really talk about here is the gouge, and this is a V gouge. Can you see that? It's shaped like a V. You can get different gouges. Okay, we'll talk about those in a different video. This is more of a sweep. But so there's all kinds of different sweeps that you can get, but the V gouge, I recommend that you get one for your beginner kit, and that's nice for just pushing material out and making your guidelines. It's great for when you're doing a little wood spirit or any kind of a carving. This is great for doing hair detail and the mustache and beard. Great stuff, because instead of having to make 2 cuts with a detail knife to make a line, okay, and then having to come back here on the other side. So I do that, or I can do this, just a light push, okay, and I got a nice little line through there. So 2 ways to do it. I can do it across the grain as well, okay, or I can push harder and really push that through and take out more material. So a very useful tool to have. Great, I highly recommend a little V gouge. Okay, this is a 1/4 inch one from Flex Cut. You can get them from different brands. Here's one from the same company here at Pfel, the Swiss made. This one's got much deeper. You can still do fine stuff with it, but you can also push in and take out a lot of material with that one. So different ones, and then you can get, of course, just the little tiny mini guys. You know, this is 1/8 of an inch, and really nice for doing fine detail. Okay, and so different stuff that you can get. You don't need all of those to get started. Get yourself a rough out knife, a detail knife, and a little gouge. I'm going to set you back about, oh gosh, under $100. Let's say $30 each if we're talking American dollars, and that's being generous. So $30 each, $90. It's a pretty cheap start to a hobby. The next thing you're going to need is a strop. Okay, now this is one made by Beavercraft. I bought this on Amazon for about 20 bucks. And the strop, you use your rubbing compound. Okay, or some polishing compound, put some of that right on the strop, grab your knife, and just set your finger on the blade, find your bevel, and then pull it towards you. Okay, and then turn it around and push it away, and then pull it towards you. Do 10 strokes like that, and your knife's going to be razor sharp. Maintains your edge. Okay, and if you don't want to buy one of these, that's okay. You can make your own. I've got a little kit here, and in my little kit I normally put a couple of knives, and I can take this out with me anywhere I go. I've got a little homemade strop here. All I've done is taken a couple of little pieces of wood and some leather, and I used some contact cement, little piece of leather, little piece of wood, contact cement, rub some compound on that, and then you can pull your knife through. Now what I did find, I made a mistake. This is 1/4 inch plywood that I had kicking around, and it just wasn't quite thick enough. So when I remade it, actually what I did is I just glued on another scrap of wood that I had, so that I can hang on to the blade. Okay, and pull it through. Now when your blade is longer than your strop, pull it through this way, and that way you'll get your entire blade sharpened. Okay, and you're ready to go.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. If there's enough interest on the wood carving side, I'll split the 2 channels. I'll have the amateur radio channel, and I'll make a special channel for wood carving. I'm going to include a whole bunch of links in the show notes here so that you can check out some of the references that I made through the video. And if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give me a thumbs down. That's okay. I got pretty thick skin. And let me know what you didn't like in the comment section. That way I can make them better for the next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.